Banks should look at risk, compliance, and fraud cost center functions as opportunities for strategic innovation, because those organizations are really the ones that help support the execution and the implementation of your strategic vision and your direction. So when we talk about those teams, they are the ones who are helping you to make the decision on the right vendor selection. Is this a good partner that we want to work with and that we're willing to invest in a long-term relationship with? It's really important to get them behind your mission of what you're trying to accomplish, to get their buy-in and to get their excitement about the process. And often when you involve those teams early and you involve them often, you end up creating a much more successful partnership with that vendor and in terms of the results that you achieve for your customers as a result of having them involved. Where fintechs can be really great partners is in creating this kind of collaborative concept of what good looks like and working with their FI partners to define that. A drawback that sometimes happens is that banks are operating in a highly regulated industry. And so in operating in that industry, they need partners on the other side of the aisle who actively understand their business, understand the pressures and the constraints and the risks that they're facing when they decide to work with a vendor or a partner. And they need someone who understands that, prepares for it, has the due diligence, can answer the tough questions, and can really make that continued success happen together. When coordinating communication and best practices between banks and the fintech partners they work with on projects, one of the best things that they can do is communicate early and often by ensuring that they have the right resources assigned to a project. So a lot of times we see that, you go through an initiative, you decide you want to go pursue a new solution or a new product or a new service, and you're giving the person the job to do that who is also doing 15 other things. And so they don't have the dedicated time to really focus on aligning the right strategy from the start to ensure that you have the right key players, you know those objectives, the dates are accomplishable, and you can work together to meet those. And so finding that right resource who can really drive that innovation, drive the strategy, and work it to completion is really important. And knowing who that party is on the other side, on the fintech side of the aisle, is equally important. So what does success look like? Defining those objectives, the timelines, understanding who's going to be in meetings, who's necessary for meetings versus maybe just an informed, so that you can continue to kind of progress in a project versus hitting stopping points. Those are all really important pieces to ensure that when you kick off an initiative, you're working it towards the end result and you're getting there at the time and with the objective that you wanted to hit. When banks and fintechs work together, third-party risk considerations that come into play are all the way from the start of the relationship to how you're going to work together on an ongoing basis. So from the very start, does the fintech that you're going to work with have due diligence? If they possess information of yours, do they have SOC or PCI attestation? Do they have all of the baseline requirements to be a good relationship partner that when your regulator comes in, you can address, hey, here's all of the information that we requested, here's how we understood the risk that they brought to our business, and here's how we've mitigated or how they've mitigated it with controls. So at the very start, understanding the vendor, the relationship that they have, and what that includes for due diligence is really, really important to set you off on a good start. Beyond that, understanding things like what are the SLAs? What are the commitments that each of us is going to make together, both in going to implementation and then an ongoing perspective? I think there are a lot of misconceptions around cost center functions in terms of risk, compliance, and fraud. As someone who worked within a financial institution, one of the worst things was almost that perception of being a cost center, because the belief was almost that you were there to do a really important job, but you weren't necessarily adding to the side of the business that was helping gain customers or helping to deepen a customer's relationship or create good experiences. And in reality, I think the opposite is true. When you have cost center functions that can be strategic, that are aligned to your objectives, they can drive new business. They can participate in engaging with your customers just as much as those who are in a sales function or in your contact center or at your teller office, because the policies and procedures and the things that they create that help run your business are impactful across all of those experiences. And so when you have those teams engaged, you really create an opportunity for things to look different and feel different. And I think those are drivers of differentiation that sometimes we don't think about when we consider those functions.